Hello and welcome along to Off the Court here on the Vitality Netball Superleague YouTube channel, where, like the spring showdown, myself and Tamsin Greenway are ready to launch headlong into a mammoth, sweat-filled, adrenaline face-off with the best the league has to offer, which this week sees us mount a defence with the best of them, South African international and Thunder shaker Shadine Van der Merwe. She'll join us later in the show. She's ready to chest past it to the best of them too. Sound the alarm. Sirens Abernethy will also be here. That's what's to come. But it's one of the best weeks of the season, Tamsin. We've got a double-header spring showdown coming up. If you haven't got your tickets yet, I know you have. Check out the Super League website. Every team back-to-back in Birmingham Borough couple. You get to see some of the best players on the planet in the Commonwealth Games city. So this is perfect preparation for Birmingham and what's to come in the summer. And that's the end of the week. But to get there, we've got to start at the beginning. So here's what's happened in round 12. There were wins for Team Bath, who ends Storm's 4-match streak. Bath backed that up with another impressive win on Monday over Pulse. Mavericks beat Dragons, Sirens won at Rhinos, and that was the Sky Monday night game. Tamsin, so much to get into. The table is as tight as my belt will be after Easter egg consumption this weekend. Bath, Mavericks and Pulse on 21 points, that race for the top four. Mavs with the game in hand. They're only 3 points ahead of Storm. Rhinos 3 points further back. Stars being slightly cut adrift in the race for the top 8, but that could all change this weekend, couldn't it? Let's talk game of the weekend gone then. You're going for Team Bath returning to form with back-to-back wins, and they avenged that defeat in February over Pulse.
Yeah, well, I mean, two they did, because they had to play Storm first and then London Pulse. And if you think back to that start of the season, we were talking about these were shock results, Bath losing that early on. They've gone through so much recently, and this was a weekend where if they were serious about their season started, they need to be stand up and be counted for. And they did that, didn't they? And you just feel a real mental shift within this group. Look, when you go through the paper, you've got so many important key players, but I think they finally found a style that's suiting them defensively. I think they finally found a starting seven, a unit that works for them. It perhaps isn't a full 60-minute seven, but it means they have got impact changes, and I think that's what they've discovered. So I'm going to take you to this first game, my game of the weekend, against Surrey Storm, a 61-44 victory. Mawene, player of the match, but honestly, it could have gone to any of those three defenders in the back line. Tash Pavlin, Layla Guscoth and Mawene, between them, 17 turnovers, kept Proscovia Peace to 25 goals, the league's leading goal scorer. It was insane. So I'm going to pick it up here. Just look at this defensive unit. So the pressure Bath put on, that's almost 3 over on the centre pass, making Storm have to play this ball around. This could have been a tricky game from them away from home. Watch Tash Pavlin here come back into shot after that challenge, and this is why she's sitting top 5 in the intercepts at the moment. That hand she gets in there. And this is where Storm just know where to go. Usually that ball into Proscovia Peace, well, no way, not past Mawene. And then they've got this composure to bring it out. That's 3 over again on the centre pass. Look at Surrey Storm having to play it around. They're just walking into this defensive unit. It's so strong. You're going to pick up Mickey Austin at the moment. Again, a ball she'd usually put in, well, not against Mawene, who just slides in the back. And this is my favourite from Layla Guscoth. So 3 over there. She steps to one, she plays to the other, and takes the ball off Surrey Storm. She is now leading in the intercepts, and no wonder with play like that. So
Storm had that great run. How do they make sure they're not done a job on come spring showdown, which is perfect English from me? They've got lightning and thunder, haven't they, this coming weekend?
Yeah, big weekend for Surrey Storm. Look, I think Team Bath honestly taught them a little bit of a lesson. But that is just the place that Bath's at right now. They are having to fight hard to make sure they stay in contention in that top 4, which they've done with that double header this weekend. Storm were on the receiving end of that. Storm can still be there and thereabouts. They are lethal under the post with Proscovia Peace. They're getting stronger in that defensive end, especially with that partnership of Leah Middleton, Kawanga, when Shotty Curtis is out there. I'm really impressed with some of the things, but they're riding that inconsistency wave at the moment. This weekend will be a real test of them. They have to hit those top teams hard. They have to attack them. They have to show that they can take that next level and be better than a mid-table team.
Coming at you or something like that. Let's take a look at another from round 12, the Rhinos Sirens game, and a 4th win of the season for Sirens, 60-44 in the end. We're going to hear from Gia Abernethy in a moment, Sirens captain. And again, the feed queen.
Yeah, the feed queen, she's sitting top of the table, 250 feeds at the moment. But what was really impressive about Sirens is up until this point, they've only had 4 games where they've scored over 50 goals. That is huge in the grand scheme of things, especially when you look at what those top teams are doing. So this game was important for them to set the scene, to go out and attack the game. That's what Leslie McDonald asked them to do. Well, they certainly did with a 60-44 victory. What was impressive was how the other players stepped up. So you see that Gia Abernethy is at top of that leaderboard, but she needed her players around her, Beth Dix, her Neve McCall, to go in and do their job, deliver, go direct, get the ball into the circle. Well, Beth Dix certainly did that. She ended up with player of the match. And I'm going to show you just how they did that in the attack end. We can play this through on the centre pass. Look at Neve McCall getting the ball. Look at that roll from Bethan Goodwin. She was so active in that circle. The control, and then the late delayed entry from Neve, 29 out of 31. Her shooting was incredible. Again, check this out. The drive from Gia Abernethy. Watch the stop and pop from Beth Dix. She's done her homework, and it's over the top to Bethan Goodwin. They were so more crucial about getting this ball in towards the post. And this is my favourite. This is when they're under pressure. Neve McCall's got nothing coming forward. She plays it back. Taylor McKevitt would usually throw this ball to Dix, but what she waits for the opening. The ball swings around, and then look at this pop to the top, the triangle, and then the delivery into the space from Goodwin. It just looked effortless. I was so impressed with how they maintained their composure. They did exactly what the coach asked them to do. They looked into the circle. They got the ball down the court. They attacked Rhinos, and they came out with a very, very, very good victory.
Several standout players then. Beth Dix got player of the match, but it should have gone really to Sirens captain Gia Abernethy. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Gia. It's all right. I would have given it to you, Gia, all day long. But it was one of those games on Monday, wasn't it, where actually plenty of players stood up.
Yeah, definitely in that first half as well. I think our starts this season haven't been our strong points, so we really wanted to come out of the blocks firing, and we definitely did that in the first half, all as a team.
I want to talk to you about this Sirens team, because I think last year everyone kind of fell in love with the Sirens, didn't they? They became the second favourite team if they weren't the number one. And I always say backing up seasons is the hardest thing. So if last year was the breakthrough, this year was the backup. It hasn't quite gone to plan. I think we all had high hopes for the top 4. Is there anything in particular you can pinpoint? Has it just been a building process, or is it really that hard to step up again for the following year?
I think it's a bit of everything. Last year with the pandemic, we were forced to spend so much time together that we really gelled as a group in a season that there were no expectations on us, no standards. To be honest, other teams probably didn't pay us much respect in terms of prep, and we kind of just came out and had a good time, rode that wave of momentum, and came out with the results. This year, I think we earned the respect of other teams, that they did do their homework on us. We've obviously had a few people in isolation, just like every other team has. But like you say, year 2 is always trickier than the first year. So I think it's good we've got those expectations on ourselves. We've raised the standard of what we expect. And like you say, we're not meeting those standards, and our performances haven't been consistent. So a huge learning opportunity for sure. But year 2 is always tricky, but we're willing to push through for the rest of the season.
Well, I mean, there's huge potential in that group. And I just want to pick up on the cultural piece there, really, because purposely you kept that squad together. You know, you didn't go out and get major new big signings, but it has meant it's quite a young, inexperienced attack end at times. How much does the culture on and off the court help you through that? And how much have you had to change sort of your captaincy and sort of helping those players, step up to that next level?
Yeah, like I said, the culture last season, it's quite easy to have a good culture when you're winning and having fun. So I think it was a great test of character this season to really look at each other and hold each other accountable when things aren't going well. So like you say, young group, especially in that attack end, I've never felt old in a team, but I definitely do this season. But no, it's nice seeing sort of what we demand of each other, especially the young girls, and seeing them live up to it when you're asking a lot of them. It's been a mental season, this one, in terms of just the demand and really having to back it up. So really proud in terms of the culture, because when you're looking at someone straight in the eye asking more of them, you kind of can't shy away from that. So I think they're doing it quite well, definitely that young attack end for sure.
Have you reset your goals then for the season?
Yeah, I think there was a whole lot of rah about top four in the off season, which, to be honest, came from a lot of outside of our circle. It was we sort of had the goals just to do better than we did last season. It was quite a lot of media and the content wise and sort of off season interviews that put those expectations on us. So we had a chat quite early on that we were going to just stick to our inner circle goals and we know what to expect of each other. So definitely readjusting. We'd like to be high on the ladder, that's for sure. Our margins haven't been that great. I think our biggest one was against Bath last round. So definitely adjusting our goals, but now it's just more about consistency and really going from strength to strength each game instead of up and down.
Because you've actually only got one game this weekend, just Manchester Thunder, unbeaten, top of the table. When you met in February, you put 60 on them. So we know that they do actually, you can get those goals on them. They won 71-60. Does that give you confidence? And what do you work on then going into this weekend?
For sure, a huge amount of confidence, to go against the team that haven't lost this season and stick with them for most of the game. When you break it down, that's 2 or 3 goals a quarter that you're sort of losing by. So huge confidence. We hate losing, regardless if it's the team that's unbeaten or someone that you should be expected to win. So it was frustrating, but we know we've got, the players and the personnel to match them throughout the whole 60 minutes. So yeah, very much looking forward to that because it's always fun to push. And you'd hate to go through a season undefeated and then get to finals. So hopefully this weekend's the one that it's going to happen for us.
You've clearly met Tamsin Greenway if you hate losing as well. I can see why you two get along. We'll look into the spring showdown at the end of the show. A reminder, you can still get tickets and you can join us in Birmingham too. Gia, one final word for you. Do you love it? Are you still enjoying it? And what does the future hold for you?
Absolutely loving it. It's my 4th year here. I feel like I've got a home away from home. Regardless of the amount of time I spent away from Australia, I do feel like I've got a great network here. So I love it. How can you not love it? We played on Monday night, and where else do you get to play the game you love on a weeknight on Sky? So no, very much enjoying it and looking forward to the second half of this season.
Well, you enjoy it more this weekend because it's Tamsin's round. She's bringing the sweets while she stocks up. Coming up, get your quick hands out. We've got Shadine Van der Merwe in the building. Well, off the court. And this is Off the Court with me, Caroline Barker, and our very own spring bunny, Tamsin Greenway. You can get in touch, use the hashtag Off the Court. Who is the player with the greatest spring that you've ever played with, Tamsin, or against?
Played with or played against? Casey Kapua. Wow, that defender could jump on the circle. You just think the feed's open, you go to play it, and pounce, she comes straight at you. I'm not sure I'd have called her a bunny, though.
Not to her face. Let's talk top 4 then and have another look at one of the week's games. We've already seen Team Bath with their bid for the top 4. Mavericks beat a tough Dragons side. We wondered what would happen in this one. Mavericks only won 1 quarter. Is that right? Is that a mistake? It was a whopper. The second quarter, 20-10, 7th win of the season, 2 from 2 in the second half. Why did they stand out?
Well, look, they had to work for it. And this round for me was all about that pressure on the top 4. They had to get a win here. They have to keep ticking away those points. They had to start looking at Bath and Pulse and Storm and going, we're coming for you. We're in there. We're staying there. We want to be in finals. Their defensive unit for me is what's impressive. And that's what got them apart from Celtic Dragons. Because like you say, the other quarters were close. It was that big second quarter. They actually went 16-13 down at one point. And then the defense went no more. And I think what's quite interesting is looking at all these top teams at the minute. All their defensive units operate a little bit differently. And Mavericks, how do I say this in the nicest way? They're a pain to play against. They hassle. There's arms. There's range. They run at you hard. And that's what I'm going to pick up here in the second quarter. This is a blink and you miss it moment. Shona O'Dwyer passing the ball to Radaman. Just look at the arm from Shadine Corbin. They are just everywhere. The whole defensive pressure and then straight down that court onto a turnover, and they're getting far more consistent and controlled. Check this one out here. Aliyah Zaranika, who has come in and owned that wing defense position. That explosion, that aggression to go onto the ball. She's so quick. This one is a better unit. Look at Akuya Dale and Zaranika. Look at Raz Korshi running hard at Shona O'Dwyer, and then Zaranika coming into the arms. O'Dwyer getting called for offside there. The look of dismay on her face. But what was interesting is they struggled with that attacking defensive unit.
Who better to talk all things defence and top four than someone top of the pile, Shadine Van der Merwe, whose Manchester Thunder team are the only ones undefeated and top. Shadine, how lovely is it being right at the top, looking down at everyone else scrapping it out for fourth?
To be honest, like, it's really comfortable being in that top spot, but also we feel the pressure going into the second round of this league, because teams are going to come out firing for us, but that's fine. We are comfortable there, but yeah, that's going to be a big battle for that fourth and even third spot on the log.
Shadine, I want to pick up from an international point of view, because as we know, we've got the Commonwealth Games just around the corner. Now, it's been fairly clear that the England players having opportunities out in Australia and New Zealand has been huge on their development of beating Australia and New Zealand. South Africa are so close to tipping those top nations. How important is it that we keep seeing South African players in the English League, in the Australian League, in the New Zealand League? And who are your tips? Who are your next youngsters? Because we've seen so many of you come and thrive across the world. Who do you think are the next players on that list?
First, I think it's really important for us to play abroad, because back home we're not even semi-professional at the moment, and for us being able to get the opportunity, even with a lot of sacrifices, to play overseas, it really helps us and build netball in South Africa, especially going into big competitions as the Com Games and World Cup next year. But there's obviously good youngsters coming through and really tall players. If I have to pick two, it will be Nicola Smith. Yeah. She's a goal defense keeper. And then Almaray van der Berg. She was part of the Quad Series squad, but she didn't get the opportunity to take court. But I think she's got a lot of potential as a goal shooter.
And you see all the coaches now be writing notes and DMing and getting those players. And whilst we're on coaches, obviously the opportunity when you come overseas is you get coached by different people. In particular, you've had Norma Plummer at South Africa. Now you've got Tracy Neville at Manchester Thunder. How influential have they been on your career in particular? How much do you like working with them? And what kind of styles do they bring to you and to your game?
No, massive. Because for me as a player, I feel there's always room for improvement, and you're never too old to learn. And for me, getting opportunities to have worked with Norma Plummer and the success she had over many, many years, so I have so much respect for that woman. But no, she really helped us, just giving us confidence as well, as a whole, as a South African team, and also for me as a defence. She's good in defence as well. So for me coming to Thunder this year with Tracy Neville, I was really excited, because I know she's a good defensive coach and I've heard a lot of good things about her. So for me, I'm very open to learn more from different coaches to improve my game. So especially for me, going into the season as well, I was still on the sideline with my injury, so I learned a lot off court, working with her, sitting next to the bench, next side to her as well. So it was good for me to hear her side and how she thinks as a coach. So that was good for me. At training, I did take a lot in, and I tried to really put that into my game as well.
Yeah, there's no not hearing her when you're sat next to her on the bench as well, is it? We can all hear Karen and Tracy and the noise that comes from it. I was going to ask you that Tamsin, we used to Karen making wholesale changes and changing things up in that moment. As a coach, do you go into a game looking at players like Shadine and thinking, right, I'm going to try and use them in that moment if plan A's not working or plan B's not working? Or do you have specific players that you look at and think they can impact from the bench? They're the ones that can actually turn it around on court. They don't need me to pull them off.
Yeah, I think if you have the luxury of someone like Shadine sitting there, you keep them out there for as long as possible. I think what's been interesting about Thunder, and Shadine, it'd be great to hear your thoughts on that, is how you have that real mixture of experience and youth. So whilst you were sitting on the sidelines, we saw Ezra Wilson and Millie Sanders. We saw those players getting opportunities on court, which was great. And, you know, it's so important that they're surrounded by those experienced players as well. How are you finding that at Thunder? Because you're talking about still, you know, learning yourself, but actually is that part of your role now as well to bring on the youngsters? And is that something that's going to have to happen in South Africa as well?
Yes, definitely. And it's good. The youngsters, they keep us on our toes as well, because they always have extra energy. But no, it's great to see, like, especially like Millie Sanders. She's so eager to learn, and she will like come to me and ask me for some tips. I feel they feel comfortable like being on the bench as well, just watching us play as well, because we are from the sideline. You do learn a lot. But yeah, Yomi and Millie Sanders are really good, and even when in pre-season and even the few matches they did play before I was like entering into the team, they did very well. And it's exciting for Manchester Thunder that the youngsters is so strong, and the future, I think, in England netball is looking really bright, not just for Thunder as well, but like in the whole of England, which makes it a little bit scary for South Africa back home. But no, it's really good to see the youngsters coming through and just being eager to learn, not from just the coaches, but players, myself, and even Kerry Allman as well.
We've seen you get a number of Player of the Match awards against Stars. Kat Tuiviti was on commentary with us this week, and she said when she was up against you, she was like, get off. She didn't want to be on the court with you. Oh no, she said, I've got to face you. Heading into Spring Showdown this weekend, how are you feeling? Rounds 13 and 14 back-to-back, Sirens, Storm. Have you done anything special to prepare, or do you see it as good prep for the Commonwealth Games? Because going to be in Birmingham, got to play games back-to-back.
Actually, I have not thought about it like for being preparation for Com Games this weekend. It was just like, okay, get an opportunity to play and building up, especially going to like finals weekend, because the weeks are flying by and we're just trying to keep up. But yeah, we work week to week. So this week we've got training tonight, so we'll be focusing on both Sirens and Storm, because with that quick turnaround over the weekend, you don't have so much time to like try to do some PA before the night before. So we have to work clever this week and be smart for because both of the teams got different styles of play. So for us, we need to be adaptable in 24 hours. But yeah, no. So the preparation will start this weekend and this week for up and coming weekend.
We'll enjoy it. Thank you for coming on. A Thunder with Siren Saturday, Storm Sunday. But let's have a look at the rest of the Spring Showdown. A reminder, you can watch the whole weekend with us on Sky. It deserves a song and it will have one. Or you can join us in person. Tickets are still available, proper tasty across those 2 days then, Tamsin, in the likes of Lightning Storm, Setting the Tone, Storm Thunder, Pulse Mavericks on Sunday looks huge. What you're looking at, how different could that top four look come Monday then?
Well, I think there's some games where there just can be absolutely no slip-ups for those teams that are really challenging for the title at the end of the season. But the big one for me is going to be that Mavericks-Pulse game, because, you know, the ones that are going head-to-head, the ones that are sitting there, that are niggling at each other for points, it matters. You get a scalp early, you keep it, you bag the points, you are happy on this home run into the back half of the season.
And all we said about Bath and maybe the rocky patch that they had, just the one game, gives them an advantage this weekend?
Yeah, it does. You know, get in, get the job done, get out. And I think that matters, not having to back up. They've had the run of the mill, haven't they, with injuries, COVID, announcements, all kinds of stuff going on. So they finally look settled. So I think Anna Stenbridge will be sitting there going, Oh, thank you. I can plan for one game tactically. I can get everybody in. I can get the game done, and then we can sit back and relax. And that matters. Like if you're playing two completely different styles and you don't want to mess up this weekend, that's tough going. You know, what do? Do you throw everything at one game and then hope that that recovery in the evening is going to give you enough time to chat it through and get out there? Do you have a little run through on court? There's very limited time to do that. So, you know, some of the teams this weekend, the coaches are tested to the limit.
They do have to play that game, though, against Rhinos, who continue to raise money for lymphoma action. There's a real moment, a poignant moment on Monday night in support of Ellie, assistant coach Maggie Birkenshaw's daughter. Their game against Sirens raised money for the charity. That continues. Do check that out. Some lovely messages on social media. Also, check out the dance moves, or is it the voiceover moves of one Tamsin Greenway. Scottish Thistles have got her in on the act. If we have a little look at what's been going out on TikTok, I knew they'd draw you in. But who doesn't love a weekend of netball? That is it from us. How different will that top four look then come next week? We will see you to investigate, analyse, and everything else in between. Enjoy it.